All right, let's get started with painting trees number 6. And this one's actually more like I'm going to be teaching you how to blend. We've already learned how to paint all our trees. Now we need to learn how to do our blending, which is another really, really important brush skill. I've got red paint on my hands. Um, so painting trees number 6, this says, let's practice blending. After your blending dries, choose one of the trees practiced and paint it in black below so it looks like a mini sunset. So here we're actually going to end up making a miniature artwork by the end. Right now, what we need to do though, is we need to decide what colors. So there's not many instructions on this sheet, so it is important that you watch this video so you actually know what's going to happen. You are going to use 3 different colors. Now you can mix up some colors if you want, or you can just use red, yellow, and blue. This is just practice, so it doesn't matter what colors we use in what order, but these lines show you our first color. Just pretend this dotted line continues. Our first color is going to be in this top part. Then it's going to blend. This is going to be our second color, and then it's going to blend into our third color. So just for the sake of this, I am going to do red down here. Then I'm going to do yellow. And then I'm going to do blue. It does not matter what order you put these in. If you do choose to mix up other colors, so like if I decided to do purple, you just want to be careful because like purple and yellow being complementary colors across from each other on the color wheel, they would make brown. So just if you mix other colors, be aware what you're putting by each other. But we know blue and yellow, we're going to end up with green in the middle here. Yellow and red, we're going to end up with orange. All right, so we need to get our paint. Now, you have to make sure you have all of your materials before starting. Paint dries quick. For this, I'm using tempera paint. If you're using acrylic paint, you get a little bit more time, but not much. So I have paint, and I made sure that I have enough. It's not like overflowing at all, but it is a lot of paint. I made sure that I have enough. You need to have multiple paper towels. We have to wash and dry our brush quickly in between each color so that we're not contaminating our paint, so that we're not making brown water, all of that. You also are going to obviously then need a water cup, and you are going to need a brush for blending. Now, the best brushes are these two here. Okay. So it is a more square shaped brush. This one's an angle, that's fine. But they are brushes, they're kind of stiffer. They're not super soft. Like this one will work, but it's so soft that it kind of like folds. This is like a makeup brush. And so this will work, but we don't want to use that particularly. Things that are going to work better for blending will be these ones that have a little bit more like stiffness to them. Okay. Flat brushes work better because they cover a big area, and think about the size of what you're blending when you're picking a brush. So like this will work really well and cover a lot of areas. I can cover this whole space in about 3 passes. This one, I might have to work a little more quickly because this one is like 6 or 7. Okay, so we're gonna use this brush. So it's the smaller of the two. I'm gonna use this one so that it's a nice happy medium. Now, I have all my stuff. I have my paintbrush, I have my paint, I have my paper towels, I have my water cup, and I have my paper. Once I get started, I have to work quick. So we are going to start with red. I am going to take a big scoop of red, and I'm going to start putting it down. Now this box is on this sheet so that you don't have to worry about staying in the lines. We would cut it out at the end, so it's like a little mini artwork. Okay, a lot of red. We are painting on paper. You want to be sure that you're not like soaking through your paper, but it's gonna get a little bit wavy. Okay, now I rinsed my brush. I'm swirling it on the bottom. I am holding my cup so the water doesn't go everywhere. And now I'm gonna take it and I'm going to dry it very well. Okay, now I'm gonna go right into my next color, which was yellow. Big scoop, lay it down next to it. Okay, I am not trying to mix my colors yet. If they touch, it's fine, but I'm just trying to get my color on the paper. Oops, I got a little bit there. So that's fine. Rinse my brush, dry it. If you do not dry it, it will get too watery. Now I'm gonna take my dry, clean brush and I'm gonna go back and forth right where this line is, where they meet. And I'm gonna go back and forth and back and forth. Okay, then I'm pulling my brush a little bit up and then I'm gonna go a little bit down. Can you see how this line is already hard to blend out? That's because my paint had already dried. I was not going quite quick enough. Okay. I don't want to go all the way up because do you see how this keeps creeping up more and more and more? If you need to, take your paper towel. You don't have to wash it. Just take your paper towel and wipe off some of the paint so you can go back in and blend again. Okay, next color because my yellow is drying. I'm gonna rinse, dry. I am going to now scoop up my blue. And lay it down. Again, not trying to mix. If they end up touching each other, it happens, but okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow because that one's been sitting while I blended the red and yellow. So rinse, dry, grab some more yellow, put it on where that seam is gonna be. Okay, and now right along that line where they meet, drag up a little bit. Okay, I don't want to get rid of all my yellow, so I'm gonna, you could wipe it off or you can rinse and dry it. I think there was too much paint on it for me just to wipe it, so I'm rinsing and drying. Now right on this line. Okay, wiping off some of that paint again. Side to side, side to side. All right. It may look messy, but once I were to cut this off, it'll be a nice little red, yellow, green, blue. Now, one more thing you want to be very, very careful about is that I mean, I didn't do this, so I didn't want to demonstrate it, obviously. You never, never, never for sunsets, if you were making a sunset, and just usually when you're blending, if you don't want to go up and down this way. If I were to go in and do this, it's not going to look right. Try to always go side to side. If you can't get rid of, like if there was that line there and you couldn't get rid of it, add more of each color. Whoops. What I get for having it set up on top of tissues. Never, never, never just go up and down. Always, always, always go side to side. Sometimes you can get some clean water and use it, but really it's not going to help a ton with the blending because your paint will just dry in the paper quicker the more water you use. So this is part one. Now you would let this dry and then you are going to pick one of the trees that you painted. So you could pick the pine tree, the one we did on painting trees #2. You could do deciduous tree, the winter one, or the one with leaves, or you could do a palm tree. It's totally up to you, but you would turn this into a mini artwork. I would use black for that. Just so that it's like a nice little silhouette. So I'm gonna pause the video and I am gonna let this dry and then I'll come back to it. All right. If you remember how to paint trees, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm gonna go ahead and paint my tree. It's still a little wet, so I might run into some weird things, but I'm actually gonna paint 2 trees. So I got my thick to thin, thick to thin. And then we're gonna get our fan brush. If you don't remember how to do these, go back. And now I'm imagining my triangle here. If you need a refresher, you can go back, watch the other videos again. I decided I didn't want any of the trunk showing there. Now we'll do another one. Yeah, I think I like that. And then maybe I'd add a couple stars up here with white or something. Like you can make this your own as long as I can still see that blending and then I can see a tree. You'll be good. Make sure your name is on it. I forgot to do that. Feature copy. And you can put this on the drying rack.